With Poppy Playtime's roaring success, at least on every other channel but this one, I think it would be a good idea to start doing some FNAF style lists for what could be the next up and coming indie horror series. So, some alternate versions of the most popular characters is what we're exploring today. Let's do it. And at 10, Kissy Missy. Kissy Missy is a toy produced by Playtime Co and was created in 1985, 1 year after Huggy Wuggy's release. Her only appearances so far being in the form of posters in Chapter 1 A Tight Squeeze and in Chapter 2 Fly in a Web as a minor character. But she is basically just an alternate version of Huggy. According to Playtime Co, Kissy Missy is more than just Huggy Wuggy's better half. She is a beacon of Playtime Co policies and won't hold back on letting the people know about it. Listen up and pucker up for this fuzzy pink lady. And while she may be helpful, she's still terrifying. Her being helpful though is why she's on the top of the list. But either way, she's basically a pink Huggy Wuggy, making it enough for this list in my eyes. I mean, like, there's only so many people that I can put on here right now. In at 9, PJ Pug-a-Pillar. PJ Pug-a-Pillar is a swampable toy produced by Playtime Co, which debuted in Chapter 2 Fly in a Web and is the main antagonist of the Statues game. Alright, he resides in the Statues game where the player must play a game of statues while trying to get to the end of an obstacle course and avoiding being caught by PJ Pug-a-Pillar. But in the Chapter 2 trailer, which is presumed to be his original design, it appears to be a giant purple centipede toy with black eyes and seemingly blue and red antenna, along with a red nose and human-like teeth. And you know what? That's what I'm calling the PJ Pug-a-Pillar. I remember making a comment about this guy when I was originally talking about the Chapter 2 trailer and how terrifying he looked. And honestly, he looks better and less terrifying now. And I mean, like, the crawling is certainly horrifying to say the least, but the purple version is so much creepier and more awkward that, yeah, it would have been worse. Plus, I love pugs, so. And at 8, Furious Mommy Longlegs. Mommy Longlegs, otherwise referred to as Experiment 1222 or Mary Pine, which is her real name listed on the transfer request, is a toy produced by Playtime Co who debuted in Chapter 2 as its main antagonist. Mommy Longlegs is a large, slender creature bearing an uncanny resemblance to a spider, luckily though with only 4 limbs, so it doesn't trigger my arachnophobia. But these 4 limbs are also all extremely elastic, capable of stretching, quote, hundreds of feet according to her transfer request. And while her basic form isn't really all that terrifying, her furious form is where things really start to get freaky. The image on the wiki firstly is of her doing like a Spider-Man landing pose, which I think is all kinds of wrong. She's like this, which is freaking weird. But also in her furious form, Mommy takes on a deranged and annoyed appearance. Her entire body becomes withered and covered in grime, her face is twisted into a permanent frown, while her mouth has become more of a scowling grimace. And at 7, Aggressive Bunzo Bunny. Bunzo Bunny is a toy produced by Playtime Co which debuted in Chapter 2. He is the main antagonist of the musical memory minigame. Toy versions of Bunzo will also later on be seen near the water treatment facility in this chapter. Bunzo Bunny is an anthropomorphic yellow rabbit with black eyes, which is already triggering me because we all know why. 2 large buck teeth and long yellow ears. Luckily he has both of them. He is often depicted with a wide grin. He also has on a green party hat and matching overalls with suspenders and buttons of the same color. In his aggressive form, though, he retains largely the same appearance. However, one notable difference is that he now has a row of jagged fangs lining his mouth, which is also split further and just wide open, which is absolutely terrifying. Like, this organic toy somehow has razor sharp wisdom teeth that can grow on command every time he gets a little angry. That's like some mutant X-Men ability there. Like, what the hell? That's terrifying. And it only gets worse from here. And at 6, Damaged Toy Bunzo. Bunzo acts as the main antagonist for musical memory, in which he will lower towards the player as they play the game. If the player gets continuous errors in the game's pattern sequence or fails to play the game quickly enough within the time limit of Bunzo's descent, he will reach them, jump scaring them and killing them. He seemingly delights in eating the player if they fail the game, screaming and crashing his cymbals with a deafening din before doing so. After beating the minigame, however, a few minutes after the player leaves the minigame area, faint thrashing noises as well as some crashing from Bunzo's cymbals can be heard. This implies Mommy Longlegs kills Bunzo for failing to kill the player in his minigame. If the player returns to the game station near the end of the game, Bunzo's corpse can actually be spotted on the ceiling, hanging motionless and trapped by Mommy's webs. The cable attached to Bunzo's back that was used for his ascent and descent in musical memory is also nowhere to be seen, but either way, this version looks terrifying despite later on being dead. Halfway through, in at number 5, Baby Longlegs. Baby Longlegs is a toy produced by Playtime Co. who debuted on a poster in Chapter 2, Fly in a Web. Okay, I didn't actually notice this, although it was on the wiki and it absolutely terrified me. Not much is known about Baby Longlegs other than the fact that they come in the Mommy Longlegs and family set with Mommy Longlegs and Daddy Longlegs, more on him later, where they were most likely created after the success of Mommy. Baby Longlegs appears in a poster after the player escapes from PJ Pug-a-Pillar. They are a stretchy yellow spider with a single tooth visible in the center of their face and a cyan strand of hair with matching cyan gloves and shoes with white frills. They also have orange eyes and wear a white diaper. But you know what, either way, even if it's supposed to be a baby, this thing is all kinds of terrifying. It's actually haunting, honestly. It's... And at 4, Damaged PJ Pug-a-Pillar. PJ Pug-a-Pillar will follow the player during the statue's game, moving regardless of whether the lights are on or off. If he reaches the player, he will kill them, resetting the game. This will also happen if the player walks or uses their grab pack while the lights are on, so it's best just to stay still when the lights are on and so you know you don't get killed. He is a long creature that is the combination of a pug and a caterpillar. He has several blue and purple segments on his body that are fluffy in appearance, and his eyes also have large black pupils. And while his purple form is creepy, his damaged form is terrifying. Available to see on the wiki, like all of these, Damaged PJ is one of the most horrifically cursed things that I have ever seen. With no eyes and blood covering him, this makes me want to hug my dog and give him as much food as you ever could want, which, mind you, is normally the entire bag. Getting close to the end, and in number 3, Deranged Mommy Longlegs. Deranged Mommy Longlegs is honestly just unsettling. In the beginning of Chapter 2, Mommy Longlegs presented herself with a warm and welcoming front to lure the player into participating in her games. This facade, however, quickly diminished as she threatens the player with death and the possibility of having their innards consumed by her while they're still alive. In her deranged form, Mommy's general appearance remains almost identical to her furious state. However, her eyes are now completely dilated, giving off a crazy, unhinged vibe. It's like the overly attached girlfriend, but Mommy Longlegs. Her irises have also faded into a pale artichoke color, and she will no longer blink. Her hair is now twisted and mangled, no longer in the neat curls from her previous 2 forms. Her hands are also enlarged maniacally, and her fingers are splayed and elongated to resemble claws. Her body is also twisted in even more alarming and unnatural ways throughout her final chase, and during her death scene, blood can be seen splattering out of Mommy as she is crushed by the grinder. This confirms that she is an organic creature, and like Huggy Wuggy was in the previous chapter. But either way, that's damn terrifying. Penultimately, in at number 2, Mini Huggies. The Mini Huggies are toys that were produced by Playtime Co. specifically for the Whack-a-Wuggy minigame. They are mini versions of Huggy Wuggy, and I guess you can see why they're on this list. The Mini Huggies are long-legged, furry entities that come in a variety of fur colors, such as green, red, blue, and yellow. Potentially more, however, that would imply that they were mating to make new colors, at least if you have a messed up brain like I do. But even if there are other colors, we haven't seen them. The Mini Huggies make an appearance during the Whack-a-Wuggy minigame, and this is the only time that they can actually attack the player. There are 18 holes in the wall during this game, and when it starts, the player will hear them crawling to make their way towards the player through these holes. The player must whack them with the grab pack in order to make them retreat. A few minutes after the player leaves the area, faint noises of clanking sounds and screams of the Mini Huggies can be heard, where they are killed by Mommy Longlegs for not succeeding to kill the player. However, it seems like PJ Pug-a-Pillar is the only toy to actually escape Mommy's wrath after failing, for some reason. And finally, in at number 1, Daddy Longlegs. Daddy Longlegs is a toy made by Playtime Co. who also debuted on a poster in Chapter 2, alongside the Baby Longlegs. Not much is known about him other than the fact that he comes with the Mommy Longlegs and family set with Mommy Longlegs and Baby Longlegs, he was most likely created because of the success of Mommy, and he also helps to explain Baby Longlegs. You see, when a Mommy and Daddy Longlegs love each other very much, Daddy Longlegs appears in a poster after the player escapes from PJ Pug-a-Pillar, and he is a blue stretchy spider with a dark blue mustache and magenta eyes. He wears a yellow bow tie and yellow buttons, as well as a gray fedora. But honestly, this is giving me like Chris Hansen conversation needing vibes, if you catch what I'm saying, okay? Definitely a sussy boy over here, and not for the fun or logical reasons either, okay? Dude's a creep. The fedora confirms it. That's all the time we have for today, friends. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been in Showerman Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video, unless Daddy Longlegs tries to kill me for making jokes about Mommy Longlegs.